Hello everybody, welcome to another installation of tutorials you didn't ask for but probably needed. This is going to be for NCAA Next. So this is going to be all for all my people that have trouble with the numbers. So like for example, I had no numbers showing up. That one was weird. Or if you the numbers show up but they're not completely rendered in, things like that. Here are a couple fixes I found that worked. So one of the best things you can do is get into their Discord. Those guys are always in there helping out. They're awesome. But if that doesn't work, um, make sure you're running an old version of PCSX2. If you're running version 2, it will not work. Um, they have a version. Where is it here? They have an older version for download on their site, and it is version 1.7.4. If it'll open up here, give me a second. So on their site here, if you go to NCAA Next and you do all the click on the downloading, it's gonna give you the emulator that will work. Because if you download the PCSX2 emulator, is going to give you version 2, which for some reason just doesn't work with their mod. So you can utilize this download link that's from their website. If you go on their website, it'll take you here, and you can download version 0.74029 here. Um, for some reason, when I was downloading them, it gave me like a slightly newer version, still not version 2, but it just wouldn't work. It was like version 1.7. I don't know. So what I had to do was I had to go to the latest nightly, and if you do the previous versions here, and you can schedule this, you can click this right here. It skips pages by 5. You can download a really old version that might work. That's what I had to do. So the version I'm running here is 1.7.4029. That's the version that works for me. So let me just make sure that that's the right one. Yeah, that's the right one that works. Also, another thing here in your settings that could fix it, go to graphics, just play around with the renderers. For me, I found that Vulkan works the best. Maybe it does for you, maybe it doesn't. Depends on your graphics card. Um, but the biggest thing here is make sure that your folder is correctly placed here in the texture replacement. Um, Make sure that this right here is your source. You don't want to go any further past textures. If you do, then it's not going to load at all. So make sure it's just at textures here. And make sure load textures is enabled. They told me that pre-cache textures might mess it up, so I have it ticked off. But this right here is a good setting you can copy. And also another thing is make sure this is in my settings, right? Make sure when you go to your NCAA football property, make sure you have the same setting. I found that for some reason it had like another setting. That's another reason why it will not load your numbers. And lastly, that I found that if you have what do you call it? If you have textures in one folder and then you have the PCS and the mod in another folder, then it'll run properly. I don't know why. I messed with this for over 4 hours. I promise. All day yesterday, all morning today, and I found that if I put in, see, I have an NCAA Next, and I have PCX2 for like all my other PlayStation 2 mods I want to emulate. I found that if I have a different PCX in uh, this folder and I have like this folder's the textures, then it works for some reason. Don't know why. It's so stupid, but I'll go ahead and fire it up. show that it works here. Here is showing that the mod loads up whenever I fast boot or just run the ISO. And as we can see here, the textures load perfectly. All the numbers, custom uniforms load perfectly. As you can see, that glitch that happened before Utah's uniforms loaded is what I used to see whenever the textures were in the same folder as the PCX launcher. I don't know why this happens, and I don't know why that's a fix, but that is the fix that worked for me. So if it doesn't work for you, go ahead and try it and see if it works. But yeah, it's been your boy P. Those are a couple things that can fix your game. Make sure you're loading an old version of PCSX. Also, make sure you're running the most up-to-date BIOS, or at least version 2 BIOS. If you're running a version BIOS that's less than version 2, it will not load your textures properly. Forgot to mention that. Mess around with your folders, put your textures and all your game settings in one folder, then put all your PCX settings into another folder. As you can see, there's way more settings over here. Try that. And also update your textures maybe. I messed with the texture updater and I just ran that quick, not the sync, but the quick updater, and it made sure all my files were good, deleted all the DLC files that might have messed up my textures. So those are some common things that might work for you. But yeah, hopefully it works. It's been your boy P. Thank you.